Throughout history, the rule of King Henry VII is often overshadowed by the dramatic and bloody reign of his son, Henry VIII. However, Henry VIII's reign was also marked by ruthless governance and a harsh justice system that saw thousands executed for crimes ranging from treason to theft. While his notoriety stems from his consolidation of power following the Wars of the Roses and his role in establishing the Tudor dynasty, he also presided over one of the most brutal and oppressive legal systems in English history. It is estimated that during Henry VIII's reign, around 72,000 people were executed, a staggering number that would have accounted for a significant portion of England's population at the time. The methods of execution were as cruel as they were public, meant to strike fear into the hearts of the populace and ensure that dissent and disobedience were met with the harshest possible punishment. However, among the thousands executed under Henry VIII, one case stands out as particularly shocking and tragic. That of Alice Gluston, a young girl believed to be only 11 years old when she was sentenced to death. Her execution, which took place in the quiet market town of Much Wenlock, Shropshire, remains one of the darkest and most disturbing chapters in English legal history. Little is known about Alice Gluston, and records of her trial and crime have either been lost to time or were never properly documented. The only surviving evidence of her tragic fate comes from parish records, which state that on April 9, 1503, Alice was executed alongside two others, John Dodd and William Harper, a tailor. However, these records do not reveal why she was condemned to die. Her execution raises several unsettling questions. What crime could an 11-year-old girl have possibly committed to warrant execution? Was she guilty, or was she a victim of an unfair and brutal legal system? Could her age have been overlooked, or deliberately ignored in pursuit of a harsher example? During the Tudor period, execution was not reserved solely for murderers and traitors. The legal system at the time permitted children to be held accountable as adults, with punishments that were often disproportionate to their alleged crimes. In Henry VIII's England, capital punishment was administered for a wide range of offences, including murder, the most obvious crime that could have led to Alice's execution. However, no evidence suggests she was involved in a killing. Treason. Even small offences against the monarchy were seen as treasonous, but it is unlikely a young girl could have posed a real threat to the king. Arson. Considered a crime of extreme severity, arson was punishable by death due to the destruction it could cause to entire communities. Theft, though not always punishable by death, in some cases even stealing food or livestock could result in hanging. The most chilling possibility is that Alice may have been accused of witchcraft. Although the height of England's witch hunts occurred in later centuries, suspicions of sorcery and heresy still led to executions during Henry VIII's reign. Women, especially young, vulnerable girls, were often blamed for misfortunes, illnesses, or deaths in the community. If Alice had been accused of practicing magic or causing harm through supernatural means, she may have been convicted with little or no evidence. Regardless of the reason for her sentence, Alice Gluston was led to the gallows in Much Wenlock, where a large crowd gathered to witness the execution. Public executions were not just punishments but spectacles, designed to deter others from committing crimes. Alice would have been brought to the execution site in shackles, likely terrified and bewildered at the fate awaiting her. The executioner would have tied a noose around her neck, ensuring it was secured for maximum effect. Standing on a wooden stool or cart, she would have had only moments before the stool was kicked away. At just 11 years old, her small frame would not have allowed for a quick death. Unlike adults who often died from a broken neck due to the drop, young children typically suffered a slow, agonizing death by strangulation. Alice would have hung there, struggling for air, as the crowd watched in silence or even jeered, accepting this brutal spectacle as justice. The execution of Alice Gluston highlights the harsh and often merciless nature of Tudor-era justice. During Henry VIII's reign, fear and control were the driving forces behind the legal system. Even children were not spared, as the execution of Alice demonstrates. Her fate is a reminder of how historical justice systems failed the most vulnerable and how brutality was often mistaken for law and order. Today, Alice's story serves as a chilling reminder of the dark realities of medieval justice, where even the youngest and most defenseless could find themselves at the mercy of the noose. Though little else is known about Alice Glaston, her tragic execution remains one of the most horrifying and inhumane legal decisions in English history, a tale of innocence lost and justice denied.